My name is Brenda Spandrio, and I am known as the Declutter Lady. And some of you might think that I'm one of these people that grew up labeling all my toy shelves and alphabetizing my mother's spices and color coordinating all of my friends' closets. Nothing could be further from the truth. I grew up a slob. I couldn't keep anything put away to save my life. And the problem was that the outside was reflecting what was going on the inside, and it fed off of each other. And what it took for me, as you can see, Judith brought a whole stack of books. I had all those books and more. Reading the books didn't do it for me. What it took was somebody sitting by my side and saying, what are you going to do with that? Now, you can't use the same person I did because I married him. So he's out of the market. But through that process, I learned what it takes to get out from under the clutter. And it has been a wonderful experience ever since, and you'll find out why. This is my colleague, Judith Engstrom. She is also a professional organizer. We are both members of the National Association of Professional Organizers. Who knew that there was one? And we are conducting these workshops because it is Get Organized Month. What is clutter? What is it?
It's a pile of stuff.
A pile of stuff. What else?
A mess.
A mess?
Inability to throw things out.
Inability to throw things out?
There's no specific place for it to go.
No place for it. Things that are out of place. What else?
Fear of deciding.
Fear of deciding. You read ahead. What else?
Overflowing file cabinets.
Overflowing file cabinets. Anybody else have a definition of clutter?
Rather be doing something else.
Not wanting to take care of that. Yeah.
Disorganized thoughts.
Disorganized thoughts, and that's pretty much where it begins. One definition I really like actually comes from the audio industry, and clutter is the stuff that gets in the way of communication. And when you think about that, that's what's going on with your stuff now, whatever it is, whether it's in your head, on your computer, or on your surfaces. You're not communicating well with your business, with your spouse, with your house, whatever it is. It's getting in the way. And now we're going to find out how to stop that. So if you look at your little worksheet, most of you are in here because of that first statement. You're immobilized because of the magnitude of the clutter. There's just too much. And that's why we call this decluttering, when you don't know where to start. Because when everything needs to be done, how do you take care of it? The very first, most important lesson is that first line there. There is no one right way to declutter. You're not going to find the perfect book. You're not going to find the perfect program. You're not going to find everything that you are looking for in one particular thing. But there are a lot of resources that can help guide and lead you in a way that will work for you. What we want to do when we're looking at any particular project is to start with the end in mind. What is it that you want this to look like when you're finished? Maybe it's your kitchen. Why do you want your kitchen decluttered? What is it about it that's going to change in your life if there's no more clutter here? Is this your dream to become a gourmet cook? Do you just want to feed your family better? What about your desk? Is it that you want to write that novel, get it done, get it out of the way? Maybe you want to write more letters to people. Maybe start a business, whatever it is. But before you can start tackling your clutter issue, you got to know why. What's the point? Some people are here because somebody else told them that there's something wrong with them if they don't take care of the clutter. But if it's not bothering you, if you're getting things done that you want to get done, it's not a problem. It's only a problem when it interferes with the way you want to be living. So that's something to keep in mind. So Step one is establish that vision or purpose for getting rid of the clutter. What is the point? Does anybody want to share what they want to do and what being decluttered would help them to do? Is there any one person that would like to share
I
that?
want to finish a book.
Wants to finish a book.
And find things.
You want to find some things. Right.
There's someone over here.
Have people over to my house.
Have people over. All right, so
That's a good reason.
secondly, the second part of this, and this is what you'll want to do after you figure out your vision, is what's getting in the way of that? List your obstacles or challenges. Why is it so hard? Is it because every time you try to pick something else, somebody puts something down? You know, what is getting in the way? What are the challenges for overcoming that? Is it excessive criticism? Is it maybe you are a recreational shopper? That would get in the way. So think about the things that get in the way of you attaining that vision. And again, not knowing where to start would be a part of that. Next, you want to identify the resources you already have. Do you have an office where you can do your writing? Do you have enough kitchen cupboard space to be a gourmet chef? What is on your side? Do you have support from a support network of people who will hold you accountable, who don't criticize so much as cheer you on and encourage you? Next, you want to develop your strategy. If you don't have a strategy for handling the clutter, you're going to start here and pick a little bit. Then you're going to say, oh my gosh, I have to go here and pick a little bit, and you never get anywhere. That's how I used to be. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to clean the kitchen. So you work like a crazy person to clean the kitchen. It's like, oh my goodness, the bedroom's a mess. So you run to the bedroom with the kitchen half done and start in on the bedroom. And you never get anything done. So you need a strategy. And I'm going to give you a sheet that has some of those strategies on it. And then finally, and probably the most important, is you have to maintain your success. And I'll tell you, the dirty little secret is doing this takes time. You have to plan, and you have to follow through with that plan. It doesn't just get done by itself. And a lot of times we don't value that. So, yeah, we'll get to that. So next we come to decision making is the key to clutter control. If you saw the little slideshow, there was one slide that had my mentor Barbara Hempel's phrase on there, that she copyrighted or registered. Clutter is postponed decisions. Think about anything that you have around your house. A pile of mail. Why is it there? Because you didn't make any decisions about that. Whether it's your laundry or information, things in your inbox, you didn't take it to the next action. And I tell people, and if you come to the paper clutter workshop, you'll hear this again. Deciding to handle it later is different from procrastinating if you set a day and a time when you're going to deal with it. So you can say, I don't want to handle this right now. But rather than put it down in this pile, as you've been doing, you say, I will handle it on, and you put it in your calendar, literally, as an appointment, and you keep that appointment. So you want to start making decisions. Now, you all are familiar with this because this is why you're here. What are some of the difficulties in making the decision? What makes it hard to make those decisions? Anybody?
When I throw it away, I haven't used it for months or years, and I throw it away and I need it the next day.
Okay, there's that. Fear of throwing things away. What else?
Just mental energy to get going, started.
No energy. So just deciding to get started is hard. Yeah, because it's overwhelming. Okay?
Having unrealistic ideas about what you can do.
Being unrealistic. This is another thing we do. We start projects. I'm a beginning knitter for the last 30 years. And anybody who knits has a stash of yarn and unfinished projects. And at some point, you have to say, I'm never going to finish this because this baby has just graduated from high school. So, do you really need to hang on to that little half-done sweater that you didn't want to finish because you had to sew the sleeves in? You don't have to. You don't have to keep those things to remind you. I do this myself with stuff. I did something silly, and my husband has given me these beautiful little crystal figures that have hearts and hummingbirds, my two favorite things. And one day, by accident, I knocked over one and broke it. I was so sad. It made me feel really bad. And he's like, okay, it broke. I kept those pieces on display for a long time. And every time I walked by, I said, that was a stupid thing to do. How could you be so clumsy? Finally threw that away. We don't need that. So get off your back and get rid of something. We need to have a place to put it away. But we need to look at what do we already have there. If you don't have room to put things away, A, you shouldn't be bringing more things in. And B, you need to take care of what's there. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. Now, somebody over here talked about what if I throw something away that I need. I'm afraid to throw things away. Well, I have some specific questions to ask so that you can give yourself a little peace of mind when you go to throw something away. And I also want to preface this by saying that you can keep every single thing you want to if you're willing to pay the price in space, in time, in energy, and in money. I'm not one of these organizers that comes in and said, okay, we're going to throw all this away. If you want to keep it, if it's that important to you, keep it. But you pay a price for it. In the space in your home, in the time that you spend looking for things, or trying to find where to put it. Energy, obviously this clutter just saps your energy, as you well know. And money. I mean, how many times have you bought another pair of scissors because you could not find the ones that you just bought? So, we got this. I've been at your house. Okay, so here are the questions to ask. First of all, is there any action required? Does whatever it is that you're looking at require, if it's a dress, does it need to be dry cleaned, thrown in the wash, or just hung up? What action is required? And that's not with disposing, that's putting away, but it still works. But for disposing of it, what action is any action required? The second thing to ask is, do you use it for something specific? Now, I have in my possession a black sequin dress. I wear that black sequin dress about every 3 years. I am not going to get rid of it because I wear it every 3 years. It has a specific use. On the other hand, I have a fantastic, wonderful, beautiful suit that I love that I will never fit in again. That needs to go. The sequin dress I can still wear, but the other thing has to go. It doesn't have a specific use anymore except to remind me that either Weight Watchers or size next. Okay? And then the next thing to ask, though, as you're looking at things, and this is important for those of you who have businesses, is there any tax or legal implication? So you want to make sure, particularly with certain receipts, house stuff. Now, check your canceled checks. You do not have to have the canceled checks from 1962 anymore. Okay? You don't have to have those anymore. Okay? All right. So, but make sure. And if you're not sure, the IRS website has information on what things are required for them. Check with an accountant. If you're a business person, you should have an accountant to whom you can go for these questions. So check to see if there are any tax or legal requirements for keeping them. Next, is it difficult to obtain this again? I hardly ever look in my cookbooks anymore because the recipe I want, whatever it is on the internet. So, when I copy out the recipe, go do my cooking, I can then stick it in the recycle bin because I save it in my recipe file on the computer. I don't need to have all the paper stacked up for recipes anymore. Other things, books you can find in the library. What else? Anything else you can think of that you can obtain someplace else? But just ask yourself, can I get this information somewhere else?
Newspaper clippings, magazine clippings.
That's right.
I don't need to clip anything anymore.
No, you can find it online. Now, something big happens, 9/11, you save the Time magazine from that. That's fine, as long as you have a reason. Now, there are people who will buy the very first issue of a magazine that comes out and every issue that comes out because they want to say they have the whole collection. It doesn't matter what magazine it is. They want the whole collection. If it doesn't have a purpose, don't do it. Okay, so if you can obtain the information again, then you don't need to keep that. And then finally, the worst thing that could happen if I throw this away. Now, if I get rid of my suit, I might lose the weight, so I have to buy new clothes. Not a bad thing. Okay.